All right, guys, it's Christina, and I am back this go round with TJ. TJ is someone who is going to help all the small business owners out there have a profit first thought process when it comes to building your business, running your business, and maintaining your business. So, buckle up again for one more ride. Go ahead and grab a pen, piece of paper, and any beverage that you might need at this point to keep yourself comfortable. So again, welcome, TJ. I am so excited to have you here. You are someone that is phenomenal when it comes to profit first. And guys, Z is going to help us with everything we need to focus on. So if you don't mind, I want to start first with the story. Can you tell us how you actually um, came across, first of all, building your business with the profit first mindset, and then how you ventured off to help other entrepreneurs do the same?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Um, about how I got into my business and profit first, I was working a corporate job as an IT project manager for a medium-sized property management company. And I just started doing so well with the executives that I have to admit that my boss started to feel threatened by me. And I didn't really understand the motivations why, but eventually I was there to optimize their project management. And I kind of worked myself out of a job to the point where I was bored in the office. I'm literally like sitting in a cubicle, sitting there going, what else is there to do? Because I had already automated a lot of things. I've put in templates and ways for people to request their projects and get them routed without having to actually be the one touching the work. So I'm bored at work and I'm reading on money.com about Jamila Safran. She's got this podcast, Journey to Launch. And I start digging into all of this financial independence, retire early information. And I was already like fairly on top of my personal finances. So this just kind of blew my mind that I could take this stuff to the next level. And as you dig into this world, it's about things like, oh, well, you get into real estate, you start your own business. All these things are like the best ways to put yourself on the path to building like true wealth and especially generational wealth. So I really just fell into that world for myself for a couple of years. But in combination, being bored at work and realizing that I could actually be using my time differently, a little bit more wisely, consulting really started to come up in my brain of like, I could be working multiple clients for 10 to 20 hours a week and make more money by serving more people and eliminate this part of my job where I'm literally sitting here waiting for other people to either do their work or ask me for something, right? Like that part was, I was bored basically, right? I was finding ways to keep myself busy. So I started consulting in the project management space, leveraging some of my technology skills and all of that fun stuff. And at this point, I had heard about Profit First, but I never went and did the research. And I actually eventually went back to working full time for other people for a while. But 2 years into, or 2 years after I started my business, I had set up my website and forgot that there was like a maintenance fee, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I want
Those
to say what
hidden
was it?
fees, right?
Yep, it's all the maintenance stuff. I was like, oh, this is all set up. It's all great. Totally forgot. So 2020, I got the bill. It was something like $700 that I was not expecting.
Wow.
And I was like, shit, I have not been doing anything with this.
What kind of site did you have? That is,
It was
you know what? It must have
also,
been for the whole year with
yeah,
everything.
it was actually a 2 year subscription is what
So
it
what
was.
a
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah. So right, because I haven't been paying it monthly. So I did not expect to get a big bill. And I imagine the cost must have gone up in that time, right? Like there's no way I paid that much when I first created the website, but definitely a surprise. I actually opened a new credit card with like the zero balance offer on it to pay for that. And I was like, I got to do something with my business to justify this expense. And that's about when I started reading a lot more. This is like the beginning of the pandemic and you had a lot more time, right? I got back 2 hours of commuting time. So I was reading like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Atomic Habits by James Clear and like all these other things, right? And eventually I finally picked up. Actually, what I did is I went to Profit First website and got like the free sample. He gives you like the first 3 chapters of Profit First to read. And I knew this was a method that I should be implementing as a best practice, right? Because I didn't want to get surprised by bills anymore for my business that at the time I wasn't using very much. And I definitely wanted to implement this process. But what happened was actually, I got turned off by those first three chapters.
Oh, wow.
They were,
What was the message that turned you off?
um, honestly, it was a lot of sitting through the author talking about how he's like he had a great big ego, and then some like he didn't have enough funds to pay his taxes, and then just like his emotional mental journey through like digging through that and how he arrived at his method, which completely valid, right? To start your book with like where you started from, how you got there, all of that. But to me, as a woman of color, it was like, I don't need to be sitting here reading this white man talk about how he has ego problems. Like, this was not a problem I cared about. So, luckily, I don't know how I found it, but I actually found, oh, it must have been through my digital library. Um, I found the version of the book actually is Profit First for Minority Business Enterprises by Susan Mariga. And she's a certified Profit First professional that wrote a version of the book to talk to minority business owners. And that just resonated so much more with me, right? She had the perspective, what it's like to be a minority business owner, how she struggled, and stories of other minorities using Profit First in their business and how that saved them from usually from a business that took off so fast but didn't feel like there was any profit in the business, like there was no reward for the business owner. And that really like that helped me get everything set up for myself. And I was off to the races doing corporate consulting, business consulting, and I was good to go, right? But I joined recently another group of business owners, like women business owners, in this paid membership. And I started getting a lot of questions from them about Profit First. They had all heard about it, but either they tried to read the book and didn't agree with something in it, or they didn't know how to get started, or they had a mindset challenge with it. And I found myself in a position to be answering a lot of these questions. And I realized there's a gap there that people need somebody to help them through, right? It's all great that there's a system, but the system doesn't eliminate your mindset challenges. And you need a partner to help you with that.
And I love how you just said that, because really, when we think about it, anyone that's a small business owner and you're starting off, you really should have this approach. Or at least consider it. I shouldn't say you should have it. You should at least consider it, because it's something that can save you, like you said, the pain and the heartache that you felt when you got that first bill in the mail. Like, wait a minute, I haven't made anything in my business, and you're already asking something from me. And you really have to restructure your thinking to see, how am I allocating different costs, and is it justified by the money that's coming in from the business? If not, how can I throw that off? And that really makes me think about now how you mentioned that gap. Well, not only is there a gap in the industry for someone to teach, how do you have a profit first mentality or attitude or method behind your thinking process, but everybody right now, I shouldn't say everybody, guys, let me reword that. A lot of people right now are really overthinking or underthinking their personal situation in life. Meaning, maybe you're part of the great resignation, right? Maybe you just quit your job and you said, I'm going to start my business, but you have a whole lot of ways that you can accomplish this goal, but you're not sure which method will get you there. Like you said, that rocket taking off. So there's so many people right now that are thinking, maybe I'll stop working my 9 to 5 in 6 months from now, and I want to position myself to be able to do that. Well, having a profit first method behind your thinking could actually help support the ideals that you're going through in that whole process. So I love how you even recognize that there's a gap, and you're like, okay, if everybody's asking me questions, this is probably something worth giving them answers to, and me taking that feedback and seeing how I can design a new business behind it. Because guys, I will tell you, she is 100% right. It's not a lot of excitement when you're doing something IT over and over. If it's the same thing, you're not leveling up. Your job maybe doesn't have the ability to allow you to level up. So I love that creativity.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've actually had a story of somebody who her business was taking off, but she decided to go ahead and quit without implementing profit first or really putting in systems to pay herself. And things were doing really well, right? She was seeing the income coming through and she was reinvesting it in her business and she was feeling great about it. And then we're in the middle of the pandemic. Her family got sick and it took 6 weeks out of her year. And all of the business just dried up because she didn't have time to nurture it or to even respond to leads, right? Like when you aren't able to respond to leads, it's hard to make a sale. So I saw that and I was this is a reason to have profit first, especially when you're fortunate enough to have a 9 to 5 that is funding your lifestyle and most likely funding your business when you first start out. If you implement profit first in that time frame before you quit, then you have a way to measure whether or not you're actually ready to quit. And you don't have to guess about whether or not your business is going to stand on its own. We can take all the guessing out of it just by implementing profit first. And especially for my strategically minded people, it's a great starting point to back into, okay, if I quit my job now, this is how much I can pay myself based off of my income projections. And I think that personally, that's amazing for me. I love having best practices to leverage and ways to do the math to make myself feel confident and comfortable with where I am so that I can take that mental energy out of the equation. I don't have to spend time worrying about where my next sale is and whether or not I'm going to be able to pay my bills.
I love it. And you also brought up another good point. And I know for me, starting off as a business owner wasn't easy. There was a lot of misguidance. I guess I should say it that way. So no matter how great we are, no matter how intelligent we are, it's okay, guys, it's okay. You're going to make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make money mistakes. You're going to make decisions that will take your business in the wrong direction and take you a little bit time to kind of turn yourself around to get back on the right road. So saying that, you're going to need time to always recalculate, rethink your thoughts, and just kind of keep going at one step at a time and not stopping. So that's the whole point of this, is to let you know that we've been there, we've done that. It's nothing wrong with getting right back on the horse when you fall off. And that being said, exactly what you just said, if we start noticing that we don't have a profit first mentality or that we're just not paying ourselves, are we building our business to where I know exactly what my salary is from everything that I bring? Guys, that's step number one before you quit your job. Some people have asked me, well, why do you still trade and work? If you make money by investing in trading, why do you still have a 9 to 5? Because I want to make sure for me that I have enough profit first attitude and method in my business in place to where I can at least be consistent for maybe 6 months to a year. I can consistently pay myself the desired salary and things like that. And if I don't have it, maybe I have it for 3 months and then I miss a couple months. Well, then for me personally, that's not my target for profit first. So I'm not able to stop doing some of the things so I could still be fortunate and blessed to have a 9 to 5 as well as kind of pursue and nurture my own business. So you really touched on that. And now I think a lot of people are going to start thinking about, what is my salary? What do I want to pay myself? How do I take out what I'm making, or how should I take out what I'm making to pay myself so I can really see if my business is making money?
And that's actually reminds me of a great point of this, right? Of if you use traditional bookkeeping to see what money is coming in the door and what's left over, it's very easy to forget that there's actually such a thing as taxes and other business expenses that you need to be taking into account. So I not only use profit first, and you can do that with just your bank accounts. You don't have to have a separate bookkeeping system, but I also have a bookkeeping system, and the numbers between the two are vastly different. There's the bookkeeping system tells me how much total cash I have, but it doesn't subtract future expenses that I haven't anticipated yet. Things like, oh, now I need a printer because I need to print out a W-9 so that I can subcontract with somebody. We live in a digital age, you don't typically need those kinds of things. But they do need a wet signature. So if I need a printer, I need to have the money set aside for that. Or taxes, where you literally have from like January 1st until April 15th before you need to pay those taxes. But it's entirely possible to spend your tax money before you actually file your taxes. And that's where you get in trouble. And it's easy to think, at the end of the year, this year in my business, while you're still working your 9 to 5, you had X amount of dollars. And that seems like a reasonable salary to replace your 9 to 5 income. But you don't actually have all of that money because you haven't paid the taxes off of it, or anticipated expenses, or as you grow, sometimes you need to hire staff and you have to reserve money for that. So there's a reason why using other people's experience and best practices from using Profit First makes it easy to understand for real, like, what is this going to look like? Because there's so much that guessing involved when you go off on your own. And I really love that you're keeping your 9 to 5, right? Because that takes the load off of whether or not you can support your lifestyle while you're doing things that you love, while you're helping other people. And I think we're in this phase where everybody's like, just quit your job if you hate it. And there's definitely, like, I completely agree. If it's burning you out to the point where like you're making yourself sick and you have the mental challenges, then you do need to make a change. But I do also want to caution people that it's not the answer to everything to just jump ship immediately, thinking that your business is going to take off if you just put more effort into it without doing a little bit of math and giving yourself the structure, because you're only going to stress yourself out more. There's so many times, like, it's this hustle culture aspect, but it's true when you're a business owner that there is a lot of hustle at the beginning, and quitting your job will not take that stress away.
That is so true. Yeah. It's not going to take it away. It still will be there. So sometimes patience should be on our list as well.
Yep.
Now, after you figured all this out, and I love how you pointed out what you do and how you actually have two different systems. So you're thinking about taxes, medical, things that you have to anticipate to come out of the money that you're making. So then you truly know how much you can pay yourself and afford to pay, building that maybe your super team, if you're hiring or you're growing or expanding in that sense. So let me ask you, walk me through like a day. Now that we know who you are, how you got there, what is a day working with you? How do you help business owners?
So a day working with me, I actually am starting to offer basically a Profit First Jumpstart session. It's a 90-minute session where, after you've opened your 5 basic bank accounts that you need, and this is where a lot of people get stuck. So the deal I have is you set up time with me sometime, maybe 2 weeks out, whatever it is you think you need the time to, and what works with your schedule. You set up that time, you prepay for your session. And between the time that you've paid for the session and our actual session, I will provide tech support for you to get you through that mental hurdle of actually going to your bank and opening the bank accounts that you need to implement Profit First. And this is a big thing in the Profit First community, of that is the first step. And a lot of people don't make it that far. So I want to make sure that people get that far. And in this day and age, we've got the digital banking and all these options where you don't have to go to a physical bank to open these accounts.
Very true.
So if it's stopping you, it's got to be something in your head, right? It can take you 5 minutes to open these bank accounts, but you haven't done it yet. It's because you need the mindset coaching to get you there. So that is step one across the board. So I want to support people by providing them the mindset coaching to get them there. And then once you have your account set up, and if you don't have them set up before the scheduled session, I'm going to force you to reschedule because you need them.
Step one has to be completed.
Yep. So once you're on a session with me, I have templates, Excel templates, spreadsheets that I can share to make it so I take all the math out of the equation, right? Like, we have this thing where women are considered bad at math, and that's a whole mindset thing you have to struggle with. But I also like to just take it out of the equation. I've done all the work for you. I share these spreadsheets and then I talk through why you need the separate accounts, the order that you go through to allocate your money. And we also discuss what types of expenses fit into each category because they have a concept. They call it materials and subcontractors. And I actually am working on trying to find a different way to describe that. It's more like your fixed recurring expenses, things that you absolutely need to have in order to bring money in the door. So for our service-based coaches, that might be your scheduling tool, like your Calendly and your Acuity subscriptions. That needs to go into your fixed required expenses. And then after that, that's the money left over for you to allocate to your other buckets. First of which is profit, and second is your owner's compensation. And we go through those steps to identify what is the necessary expenses versus what are the nice to haves, and work through the mindset challenges of whether or not you're going to pay for that professional membership out of your fixed expenses, your nice to have bucket, or your owner's comp. And this is something that grows with you, and you can make changes and customize as your mindset grows, as your business grows. And especially when you start having payroll, then you need a whole separate bucket for payroll for your team.
Yeah.
So I provide that initial setup to get you going and help you build the structure and habits to do this on your own. And we talk through, okay, what days are you going to do these allocations? There's a standard recommendation of the 10th and the 25th of the month. That's so that you can do bi-monthly payroll and pay all your bills on the 15th and the 1st of the month, because that's when most of our bills are due, right? And what I'd also love to do for anybody who signs up for my Jumpstart session is for the rest of 2022, I'm going to host Profit First allocation days on the 10th and 25th, where we literally jump on a Zoom call with everybody else who's gone through a Jumpstart session with me, and we do our allocations together. We'll talk through any mental challenges we might have before, and then take 10 minutes to go and through each step silently. We'll put on some music and make it a calming exercise where we can do this as a group. And then we'll reconvene and talk through what came up for us as we were moving the money. For some people, it's going to be that you look at your accounts and go, oh, I don't have enough money for that expense I wanted to make. Or, oh, this is definitely not enough for me to pay myself if I quit my job. And for other people, it'll be like, oh, I think I'm very close. You can start celebrating wins of like, you have what you're paying yourself. And it might just be like this last 2 allocation sessions ago, it was just $96 because nobody else had like paid their invoices yet. So I had $96 to pay myself with. And it stares at you and you have to think, well, what can I do with that money? Is that to go have a fancy dinner, or is that just I'm going to treat myself to a latte and the rest I'm going to put against my debt? Like, these conversations I want to have with other business owners as they're going through Profit First. And I am so excited about this. I cannot wait to get these going. And by the time this comes out, we'll have already been running these for a couple of months. But that is what working with me looks like.
I love it. And as you were saying it, what I was thinking in my head tonight, I call it's a one of my old coaches that taught me call it a money date, but I call it the money, wine, beer, and coffee date. So I'm just like you. Anyone in my membership tonight, we're jumping on a call and we actually go over our expenses and basically do a balancing check. Like, where are we at? What do we need to save? So you're right on point. I love the ideal, and it really working with you to do that. I can see how people are going to shift that mindset. They're going to start feeling comfortable talking about money, for one. Like you said, two, celebrate some wins. Who doesn't want to get excited about knowing what went right in the process? And I love the fact that when you have this time, it also helps you, how can I say it? It makes you realize, like you said, sometimes we know we got money coming in the door as a business owner. We know it. But everybody don't pay their invoice at the same time. So just because you are anticipating that money coming and you know how much it's going to be for the month, you can be broke and then everybody decide to pay on the same day. So just having that mindset and talking it through and putting it in right in front of you and checking it twice a month, I love it. So I can't wait for people to jump on that. I bet you by the time a couple of them go through, everybody's going to be like, okay, it's party time as soon as those 2 dates come up.
Yeah. And actually, I want want to touch on the point with the invoices. What this did for me when I did the allocations, I looked at it and went, oh, I still have 3 invoices outstanding. And seeing that I could only pay myself $96 had me calling those clients and going, hey, what is going on? And I know this is something that every business owner, especially when they're first starting out, is like scared to do, is to ask people to pay their overdue invoices. But when you stare at the fact that you can't pay yourself what you thought you were going to be able to, that is a
Exactly.
very motivating.
It's an eye opener. You hit it right on it. And when you had that $96, how did it make you did you feel broke in a sense, or did you have to later get
yes.
over that mind shift?
I totally felt broke, which is not reflective of the rest of my financial status right now. I've got a few things invested in all of that. But no matter what, when you're looking at your actual cash in hand, that number will make you feel broke. And you go, what do I got to do to bring more money in the door? And I have to tell you that that was kind of like a stuck scarcity mentality that forced me to think, what have I not been doing to make my business successful, to make sure that there's cash flow? Because there's a difference in my books that I've accrued revenue, right? If you have a business background, if you've ever taken a business accounting class, you've accrued revenue, and on the books you have money, but your cash balance says something different.
You see it.
Yeah, and this is what I love about talking about profit first with other people, is that it forces you to have those frank conversations with yourself about where you stand with your money, or what your mindset challenges are, or think about what your next steps need to be. And going back to the celebrating your wins thing, that there's a lot of conversations about, okay, here's what I got to do next. This is what I got to do next. And the invoices get paid in the background, right? We've got all these tools to automate the money coming in the door. And I love holding space for people to recognize their wins and talk about how that works, and getting them from that scarcity mindset feeling, which we'll all have every once in a while, right? Especially if you came from the scarcity mindset when you grew up. It doesn't go entirely away just because you are making all of these mindset changes. So helping people move from scarcity to the abundance mindset on a regular basis, giving them that structure to do that. So I really I'm looking forward to helping people with my allocation days and talking through all of those things that come up.
Knocking down all those roadblocks, if you will, money blocks.
Yes, money blocks.
and that's the neat thing about your money coaching program, money mindset coaching, in a sense. It allows people, like you said, whatever you felt or how you felt about money growing up, it doesn't go away with just a couple of sessions. That's embedded in you, and you don't even realize it. I remember my parents telling me, never throw away food. You have to eat everything on your plate. And so when I got older, I will force myself to do it, because I thought if I didn't, I'm going to go broke. Like, this is, the little things that you you don't realize really just embed you as you grow older, that you have to kind of slowly chip away. So that takes coaching, that takes time. It's a process. It's not quick. So the fact that your program allows people to go through the whole process and not kind of like skim on it, I guess I should say, I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I even find for myself, right, that there are, and Glennon Doyle describes this as like a present from your past, like from your childhood, that you have to decide whether or not you're going to accept and keep, or reject and change the way you view the world, and slowly move your perspective away from a certain behavior. That I have these that I find in myself, that just talking to myself isn't enough. I need to share with other people what it is that's coming up for me, and get either that validation or that reflection or a different perspective from somebody else. And it's something I personally crave. So I want to offer that to other people.
Love it. And you know what? I think your doors people are probably going to start knocking them down. So just be prepared. And let me ask you, what else can you tell anyone? Now, that's a day working with you. What else can you tell them that you can help them with if they decide to maybe just do a call, or just like a discovery call to get to know you? Do you have any things that they can do to access you?
Actually, right now, I am hosting for my birthday. So for this comes out after my birthday, but for anybody who gets a sneak peek, I am hosting webinars where I do basically a profit first crash course so that people have an idea of why they need profit first, what it can do for them. And if they really want to, like, they can take that information and then go grab one of the profit first books out there and do it all on their own. So I'm not here trying to hoard information. It's all publicly available, right? For the cost of a book and some time spent, you can do profit first for yourself. And if that's you, then great. That's certainly, I got started on my own, and I just want to host a space where people who are doing this, because I really found myself doing profit first allocation days by myself, going, okay, I've just done this, but I've got nobody to talk to about it. Yeah. So that's why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I am on Instagram and Facebook as TJ Wey, so WEY. And Instagram, it's at tj.wey. And I'm slowly getting myself out there more and more. This is a thing as a first generation Asian American where you everything is super private, especially about like the struggles around building your own business or anything that says that you're doing hard work, right? And then of course in American society, we don't talk about money much. So I'm slowly building my presence in social media and being more publicly vulnerable about what I'm doing. There's just more to come. There's so many things that I have planned that are going to grow out of this profit first stuff. And I certainly bring to bear all my other expertise as a project manager and IT systems and all of that will come out if you ever have a conversation for me and you have a need in that space.
Well, I can definitely tell you, I think this is amazing. And the fact that you're taking initiative to do that, welcome to the club. I am still also layering back some of me. I'm a very private person. Only time people really see me if I'm doing like personal ministry work or something like that. So I totally understand. But now that you are slowly undoing that layer, just watch. And guys, I'm putting all the links right below. So just to forewarn you, you will have all this access. I'm talking websites, the offers, the social media links. So definitely take a sneak peek, click on the links so that you can also just shoot her a DM. Hey, how's it going? I'm such. That way you already can make that bridge of contact before you need something. Don't wait until you need a profit first method. Learn about it, put it in your toolbox at least, so that if you decide to do it, great. If you don't, then when you do later on, if that's the case, you know exactly where to go. Am I missing anything else, TJ?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah. So I'm excited for you guys. And I know her story resonated with me. Hope it resonated with you guys. Do not forget to also follow, like, and share with a friend this particular episode. And again, check it out. And we will see you guys next time. And thanks for listening.